Let's smoke a turkey for Thanksgiving using my foolproof method. Yeah, now, let me clarify here. This is my foolproof method. There are a lot of really great methods out there to make turkey, and I don't always use this because sometimes I want a different presentation. But if you are aiming for great flavor, great moisture, you know, that juicy white meat in the turkey breast, this is the way that gives me the best results. Now, to get started, we have to get our brine concentrate ready because we're going to be brining this turkey the day ahead. There's a couple different steps we're going to be using to get it for my foolproof method, but this is really a big one. So let's head over to the stove and make our brine concentrate. So in my pan here, I'm going to add 4 cups of water. Got my burner on medium-high. I'm going to add a cup of kosher salt, a cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of minced garlic, and about 6 sprigs of fresh rosemary. What we're going to do here is we want to dissolve the salt and the sugar and start infusing this brine concentrate with the flavors of the garlic and the rosemary. So we're going to bring this to a boil and let all those solids for the sugar and the salt dissolve. Now, while that's coming up to a boil, let me show you what I'm going to use to brine this turkey. My big old turkey brining container. Now, you don't have to use something like this. You can use smaller containers because guess what? We're breaking this turkey down into 4 pieces. We're going to have 2 half breasts and we're going to have our 2 leg quarters. One of the reasons I like to do this is because you want the leg quarters at a higher finish temperature than the breast. If you take the breast to the temperature, say all the way to 165, your thighs might be a 165 depending on their proximity to the fuel source and the heat, but they might be lower. And really the dark meat likes a higher temperature, closer to 175, 180. I've taken it to 190 before and it's great. But our turkey breasts, we're going to be pulling those at 160 degrees because they will have some carryover temp. We don't need to take them all the way to 165 on the thermometer. But this is what we're going to use to get our brine concentrate into. And then we're going to get our turkey pieces in there after we cut it up. And then we're going to cover everything with cold water and it's going in the refrigerator. Like I said, use smaller containers if you want. Just get everything to fit in so it goes in the refrigerator. Gotta bring this up to a boil, get everything dissolved. And the reason this is called a brine concentrate, you probably figured that out, is this is the base of it. We're going to be adding a lot more water into the container that's holding our turkey pieces. Almost up to a boil here. Now, once we dump our brine concentrate in here, we are then going to dump about 8 cups of ice. We want to start cooling it down because as soon as that turkey is all prepped, we're going to get it in here and cover it with water. And we don't want that brine to be hot. We're not trying to cook the turkey in the brine. We just want to get that brine all dissolved. We're getting close here. All right, we are at a boil here. Just feeling this with the spoon in here. Do I feel any grains on the bottom here? I really don't. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off and get this into our container. Is my top camera getting fogged over? All right, we're going to get our 8 cups of ice in here. I'm also going to add 2 oranges that I've cut into, 4 pieces per orange? 8 pieces. All right, we're going to set this aside and we're going to move on to getting our turkey ready. All right, here's our turkey. This is about a 14-pound turkey. It's a straight up butterball turkey from the store. I thawed it in the refrigerator. There's still a little bit of ice in there. And this does come with some pre-brining solution. But I've done the same thing with turkeys exactly like this, where you add your own brine. They come out fantastic. We're just adding an extra layer of protection here to add flavor and juiciness to the turkey. So let's go ahead and start breaking this down. First thing I want to do is flip it over. And you notice I got my big tray here with a little cutting board in there so I don't cut straight on the metal. We're going to take the spine out, save the spine for turkey stock. We're going to cut off any excess little pieces here we don't need right away. I've got my poultry shears and I'm just going to go up each side of the spine. I'm going to flip it around here. Just like that. The excess ice there, just get rid of it. First, we're going to spatchcock this, which is just basically making it lay flat. I like to take my knife, go kind of center down the breastbone and just score it. We're going to flip our bird over. Lay it out flat. Give it a good press. You hear a nice snap. Flip our turkey back over here. We're going to go from the top side to start separating our breasts as evenly as possible here. There's that natural little valley in the skin there. Just use your shears if you need to finish any of the breastbone. There we go, our two halves. Now let's separate the leg quarters. These are fairly simple because you can see they're kind of floppy. Just follow that along the seam. It actually comes apart much easier before you cook it. Once you cook this, a lot of those muscles tighten up in there, and separating the thigh from the rest can be a little tough, but this is super easy. See why I do this in a tray, what a mess it can make? Let's separate. And there we go. Our turkey is quartered. Let's get it into our brine. So our brine concentrate's in the bottom of the container. And again, if you're using multiple containers, just divide the concentrate between them. Make sure you add the ice to cool everything down. All right, we're gonna start by putting our turkey breast halves in here. I wanna put it skin side down so that meat is more submerged. The wings are still attached. You could remove those and do them as a completely separate part of this, but I like leaving them attached. The reason we're putting the breast halves on the bottom is because the white meat is what really needs the help here. The dark meat, the thighs, the legs, they don't need quite as much help with the brine. They've got a lot of fat in there. So the brine is just some extra goodness for them. I'm gonna start adding water. That looks good. If the thighs and the leg quarters come up a little bit, they're going to be fine. Like I said, this is just extra help for them. But we really want that breast meat, those breast halves on the bottom, soaking in all this brine. All right, this is going in the refrigerator overnight, and tomorrow we'll get our turkey seasoned up before we head out to the grill. So here's our turkey after a night in the brine. It's looking great. I gave it a quick pat dry. I didn't rinse it off. I don't usually do that when it comes out of the brine. What I want to do now is I want to flip it over and start the seasoning on the other side. What I'm using today is barbecue seasoning from Uncle Dave's. Turn this over. And I have it in a rack in the tray here so that the moisture can continue to sort of bleed off of it and it doesn't sit in its own moisture. Just want to get a good coating on the underside. Now we're also going to be having a butter baste at a certain point in the cook today. That baste is basically 1 stick of butter, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, and half a teaspoon of poultry seasoning. And it's just going to be melted up and we'll drizzle it on. Get a good coating on the skin side now. And our exposed meat. All right, let's get our turkey out there and get it on the grill. While the Lone Star Grill's offset is up to temp, my target today is 275 degrees. I have water in the cook chamber and we're burning hickory. So let's go ahead and get our turkey on. Putting the dark meat, the thighs, closer to the firebox. I want to get a temperature probe in one of my turkey breasts. As I mentioned, the temperature I'm going to pull this is 160. I have my alarm on my ThermalWorks Smoke X4 set for 158 because by the time I get it all out of there, it'll be at that 160. So let's go ahead, get this closed up, get smoking, and we'll come back at about 120, 130 degrees to give it that butter baste. See you back here in a little while. All right, we just hit 120 internal. We've been going just about 2 hours now. Temp's been holding really steady right around that 275. Let's go ahead, open up, take a look, get our butter baste on, and I also want to check the temp in the thighs. Looking good. So we're looking at 133 in the thighs, about 10 to 15 degrees ahead of our breast. Now let's go ahead and baste these with our herbed butter. Good drizzle and a nice little light brushing. You can come back and do this multiple times I may do that, but we'll just see. I find usually once is enough. All right, we're going to get this closed up, let it keep smoking, and we're going to come back when we hit that 158 to 160 on the breasts. All right, we are just about to hit 160 degrees internal. Let's take a look at our turkey, and then we're going to get it off there, get it inside, let it rest for about 20 minutes, and have a taste. That looks so good. Our leg quarters, we're running about 10 to 15 degrees ahead of the breast, so they should be good right now. So I'm going to get these off here. We'll get them inside, let them rest, like I said, and then we will have a taste. All right, here is one of our turkey breasts with the wing. I'm going to taste this first, and then I'll get some of that dark meat, the thighs, because I love the dark meat. Let's cut into this. Let's bend this wing back a little bit here. That is juicy. Look at that. Cut a little more here. Cut some pieces to taste here. Cheers. Great flavor from the smoke, the rub, that butter. But let me tell you, the brine is the secret here. Killer. It's just that extra step which almost guarantees you are going to have flavorful, juicy white meat, which is always that difficult thing that people complain about. Oh, the turkey breast was dry. The white meat is dry. This is how you do it to not have that dry turkey breast. All right, let's try some of that thigh meat. So here is one of our leg quarters. This just looks so delicious. And again, I love the dark meat from the thighs, the legs. If I had to pick one piece of the turkey to eat, it would be this. So let's go ahead and cut in. Nice and hot still. That dark meat, I love it. Cheers. As soon as you bite in to the dark meat, to the thigh, the leg, that fat, the fat that's just there naturally, it just releases, and it's just a burst of flavor. Yeah, so for the breast meat, if you pull it at 160, the carryover is going to bring it to the 165, that safe temperature for poultry. The leg quarters like this, they can tolerate a much higher temperature, 175, 180. I think I said I did them to 190 once, and they taste great. There's just such a great amount of moisture in there from the fat. Really hard to beat.